Hi Mayuresh and Nirantar, welcome back to the video series. And today we'll be discussing about sales and demand planning challenges which will HUL will face. And this is something that Mayuresh is going to take up, and Nirantar will take up logistic and marketing challenges that HUL might face or maybe already facing them. Right? We'll start with the new fresh page. We'll start with Mayuresh.
As you can see, the actually the FMCG company, so they have to capture the market from the lower level, like the end user.
Mm-hmm.
The एंड यूजर का डिमांड क्या है, उनको फिलहाल मार्केट में किस चीज़ की डिमांड ज़्यादा है, किस चीज़ का सेल्स हो सकता है, किस चीज़ का स्टॉक उनके पास एक्सेस अमाउंट में है एंड किस चीज़ के मैन्युफैक्चरिंग उन लोग को करने की ज़रूरत है, ये
Okay.
सब उनके डिमांड प्लानिंग में आ सकता है. देन दे कैन प्रोवाइड दिस डेटा टू सेल्स टीम टू एक्ट अकॉर्डिंगली
Okay.
दैट वे. या उनकी सेल्स प्रोसेस में मतलब सेल्स प्रोसेस ऐसे चलती है. जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट है
Mm-hmm.
उनके बाद एक कैरिंग एंड फॉरवर्डिंग एजेंट्स रहते हैं जो कि डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते हैं गुड्स जो मैन्युफैक्चर होते हैं कंपनी में.
Mm-hmm.
उसके बाद आते हैं
Distribute
रिडिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स आते हैं.
distributors.
देन या देन जो माल कैरिंग एंड फॉरवर्डिंग एजेंट्स हैं उनको मिलता है वो रिटेलर्स, होलसेलर्स, अर्बन रूरल रूरल रिटेलर्स को फॉरवर्ड करते हैं. देन उसके बाद वो कंज्यूमर्स को जाता है, एंड यूजर को. सो
Mm-hmm.
उनकी सेल्स प्रोसेस इम्प्रूव करने के लिए उन लोगों ने एक तो प्रोजेक्ट शक्ति करके एक प्रोजेक्ट चालू किया हुआ है जिसमें वो लोग अर्बन एरियाज में जो वुमेन्स है उनको इनकरेज करते हैं कि वो आप हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स लो हमारे रीसेलर से, एंड देन वो आप एंड यूजर को बेचो. उसके लिए उन्होंने उनके लिए एक स्कीम भी निकाली हुई है कि बैंक से उनको क्रेडिट मिलता है फॉर परचेसिंग द प्रोडक्ट्स.
Okay.
Then they can sell the products to directly consumers, and then they can वो लोन जो बैंक से मिलता है वो रीपे कर सकते हैं.
Hmm.
एक ये है. देन सप्लाई चेन मैनेजमेंट के लिए उन्होंने एक प्रोजेक्ट स्ट्रीमलाइन करके प्रोजेक्ट लॉन्च किया हुआ है जिसमें वो लोग जो सप्लाई चेन्स के प्रॉब्लम्स है, देन सप्लाई चेन्स के लिए उन्होंने क्या क्या जो जो चीज़ें उनको एक्स्ट्रा लगती है वो सब वो प्रोजेक्ट स्ट्रीमलाइन में इम्प्रोवाइज करते हैं और हैंडलिंग करते हैं उसका पूरा.
Okay.
या उनका अराउंड 75% ऑफ इंडियाज एफएमसीजी बिजनेस एचयूएल से आता है. सो उन्होंने इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए उनके जो
Out of
मुंबई का
out
हेड
of what? Sorry.
100 आउट ऑफ 100
No,
परसेंटेज
I
इंडिया.
meant to say FMCG business of HUL. So you are talking about the whole Unilever family.
या
Okay.
या देन उनका जो मुंबई का हेड क्वार्टर है वहाँ पे उन्होंने एक मेन जो उनका कॉरिडोर है वहाँ पे एक बोर्ड लगाया हुआ है. वहाँ पे वो लोग जो निगेटिव फीडबैक्स आते हैं कंज्यूमर से और मार्केट से वो
Mm-hmm.
डायरेक्टली वो उनके वॉल पे करते हैं कि जो देख के उनकी सेल्स टीम और अदर टीम्स जो है
Hmm.
उनको इम्प्रूवमेंट करने के लिए मोटिवेशन मिलता है.
Okay.
दे आर फेसिंग करंटली द मेन प्रॉब्लम इन द प्राइसिंग,
Pricing.
product pricing. And competitors like P&G, they are providing the pricing much products on much low price.
Okay.
So they have to reduce their prices, and their sales team has to chase the distributors for the orders on the pricing war, and they have to give the redistributors that discounts offers on the products.
Mm-hmm.
So their margins are getting less due to this pricing war,
Okay.
and the demand is more than the supply. So the sales team have to redistribute these products from the other redistributors from different areas. So their
Mm-hmm.
logistic cost will also increase due to this scenario. If the if some at some area the products are not available, so they
Okay.
have to arrange it from the other area of the other part of the city or other part of the uh,
or other
any
town or
other,
anything, correct.
या तो their logistic cost will increase, so वो डबल हो जाता है logistic cost उसका
Mm-hmm.
इसके हिसाब से. So they are facing this problem also. And one more thing we have to add up, that the प्रोडक्ट हैंडलिंग, प्रोडक्ट हैंडलिंग भी उनका, अगर समझो 100 पीस, 100 numbers of soap bars are coming with the coming in a logistic, then if the 15 bars are getting damaged, so their profit is reducing, and the money they have to again manufacture the 15 numbers of that bars
Okay.
to fulfill the requirement of
Mm-hmm.
this, of the orders. And the redistributor also asking for the more discounts and more uh, uh, offers on the products, so they can provide to consumer at a better price, so they
Okay.
will also get the margins. That's it. That's
Okay.
it for the sales and demand.
Mm-hmm. It's Project Shakti only, right?
Yeah, project Shakti and project Streamline for supply chain management.
Stream. Okay. Okay. So this is all you want to list, or you have anything else on your mind?
That's it.
Okay. So now you try to identify each and everything, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you can grab information of and figure out that this might be a problem. This is something that there is a problem. Now we'll just think structurally for this. So let's just start with how they. It will start with demand, right? Sales will happen only after demand is planned. That what kind of demand is getting into our company and what kind of manufacturing we have. So sales has majorly three challenges: demand, the inventory that you have, and the pricing that you play on, right?
Yeah.
And product quality, of course, it's a fourth parameter, but generally like brands like HUL generally doesn't affect on product quality that much in terms of sales, because they have brand and trust value. Even their brand in itself has its own brand value or brand goodwill, which they report in their balance sheet also, that if they try to sell this brand to someone, we will earn this much of money. That's like in whole company's capitalization. Now start with demand planning. Now demand planning, how will they get data for demand planning? How will they understand what product needs in what quantity and in which area? That will be the biggest challenge, right, for them.
Yes.
So identifying
Demand.
product quantity. Next is location, and then combination of both, that at which location how much quantity is needed. So just for an example, in Pune they need 1 million Lux bar on a year. In Mumbai they need 2 million Lux bar in a year. But in, let's say, Bangalore, they just sell 100k of Lux bar because maybe hammam is dominant in that market. So first is to identify what product quantity they need and at what location. If they figured this out, then now sales team have their own sales targets basis this demand. Let's say, for example, we'll talk about Mumbai, right? In Mumbai they have 1 million quota. Sorry, that's what they are selling right now. So if they are selling 1 million Lux bar, for example, right now, you can say certainly that they have growth target of, let's say, 5% growth year on year. So how much they will need to sell? 1 million plus 5%, or for simple calculation we'll take just 10%, that will be 100k,
11.
right?
Yeah.
So they will have to sell 1.1 million units of Lux bars. So that's first they know the demand basis some data points. Post that they know the demand, they need and target to sales team, because sales team works on target in every organization, right? Whatever growth want to achieve or they want to sustain the business. So what they will think of कि next year 1 million तो आना ही चाहिए, बट और थोड़ा 100k आ जाएगा तो हमारी ग्रोथ हो जाएगी इस सेक्टर में और इस लोकेशन में. And that's how they think also. So now once the sales targets are given, Then the agents which you mentioned. So agents are nothing but MRs that you guys might have known about the pharma industry. That MR will visit a doctor and he will figure out what kind of medicine doctor is suggesting right now, and according to that he will also give the doctor motivation to sell his company's drug, right? So यहाँ पे भी एजेंट इसी तरह काम करता है, एंड एक्चुअली फार्मा ने FMCG को कॉपी किया है. दैट्स व्हाट हैज़ हैपेंड इन द इंडस्ट्री, right? Pharma works on FMCG supply chain structure. So now agents will go to distributors and they will distribute, and you again mentioned, Mayur, that they tend to redistribute particular products from one place to another place, maybe within a city, maybe within state, maybe within countries also, however that plays out. But why do they need to do this, right? There is no need if they have already sold something to someone. There are two things. One is that you can get capital out of those products very quickly if you move between cities or between distributors. Reason being, so for example, I am holding let's say 500,000 bars right now, 5 lakh bars. Now if I am holding 5 lakh bars, my capital is invested into those bar. HUL capital is already invested, my capital is already invested, so we are at very capital intensive business, right? FMCG in itself. So अब ऐसा होगा कि मेरा भी पैसा अटका, उसका भी अटका है, अब निकालना कैसे? अगर किसी को 300K बार्स की सेम ज़रूरत है एंड वो नेक्स्ट डे रिटेलर को बेच सकता है, तो आपका क्रेडिट साइकिल विल बिकम शॉर्ट, राइट? बिकॉज इफ यू सेल आउट ऑन नेक्स्ट डे टू समवन, he maybe sell it in next 10 days and you will get that money back. But if it sits on your inventory for let's say another 10 days, your money is still invested in after 10 days, and after that if you sell it to someone, he will maybe pay you 10-15 days later. So your credit cycle goes to more 25 days. The money realization out of those bars will go about 25 days more from the current data. So that's why the redistribution of products, and also they have shelf life, that's also has to be taken into consideration, right? Every product every FMCG product has its own shelf life, so इसलिए भी redistribution बहुत important होता है. And what industry calls it as a stock transfer. That's something, a new word I guess, but it in itself very indicative what it means. Like move the stocks around the warehouses, distributors, agents और retailers. Generally retailers के साथ नहीं होता, but upper supply chain में ये होता है to optimize the supply chain. Even though logistic cost बढ़ता है आपका, but your credit realization is much more higher than their logistic cost. There is a wastage, agree, but for that better packaging, better handling and adhering SOPs around that is something that companies do, which help them to tackle these such problems. And where logistic mishandling or maybe wastage happens is generally where infrastructure is not good. So for example, if you are a distributor and you don't have certain kind of warehouse which is needed for your product. So for example, किसी ने आइसक्रीम का warehouse डाला है and उसका cold storage ढंग से काम नहीं करता, it will make an loss for him, right? Because if it's whatever necessary is not there, it will create an kind of nuance to the detail of like how they should store it, and the ice cream will get melted or maybe some other things will happen, right? So that's one thing. Now as you mentioned, pricing, margin, demand is greater than supply. This is always going to be the case for FMCG, because as we are developing country, तो हमारे यहाँ पे हर एक दिन किसी ना किसी का इनकम तो बढ़ ही रहा है, राइट? एटलीस्ट 1 or 2 or 3 people are earning more compared to what they were earning yesterday or day before that. So if you think on that terms, there will be always demand which will be greater than supply, because you cannot increase your capacity overnight in any tangible businesses, which we already discussed, right? तो उसको नया प्लांट अगर क्वालिटी वॉल्स के भी डालना है तो दे टेक्स ईयर्स एंड लॉट ऑफ मनी. बोथ थिंग्स हैज टू बी पुट इन. नेक्स्ट इज Logistic cost and product handling, like I mentioned, accurate size of infrastructure and adhering to proper SOPs will eliminate these two problems. Because handling, at least, cost is something which is debatable, because how do you define what cost means, and what kind of cost you are thinking, that will figure out. But first I will cover pricing and margin. So what do you think, like how pricing and margin correlated?
The manufacturing cost is less, and you can sell it out in greater price. If suppose your manufacturing cost is 10 rupees and you are selling this product at all 15 rupees, then your margin will be 5 rupees on that product, for that particular product. And if we consider the logistic cost, then product handling, product wastage will be there. If this affects that 5 rupees, then it will get less. And due to the pricing war between the competitor, if they are selling that same product, no, not same product, compatible product, if they are selling that product at 13 rupees, so they have to consider that 13 rupees price for that product, and they have to reduce their own product's price to achieve the
Correct.
customer cost.
So let's just talk about it from the perspective of manufacturing cost is 100 rupees. Then what will add on to this 100 rupees? What will be the first addition in the supply chain?
Packaging.
No, I am saying entirely the packaging, the last
Logistics cost.
Logistics.
No, before logistics there will be a distributor cost, because you are first selling to a distributor and then you will add logistics, right? पहले किसी को बेचोगे तभी तो वो ट्रांसपोर्ट होगा, right? So let's say distributor margin is there and we are telling him that it is 20 rupees on 100 rupee product, because he has to hold that inventory for us, so he has to have a capital gain out of it. Then logistic cost will come. It will be, let's say, 10%. India mein it is generally around 15% of your total cost, product cost. In US and China it is more towards 8, 9, 10% kind of thing, which I recently learned by listening to our railway minister, where he mentioned that Nitin Gadkari, where he mentioned that logistic cost is in India is very high. So he's in road and transport minister. So on his point, I realized that India is very high on transportation cost, which is fine. Now logistic cost is, let's say, we'll consider 10 rupees for simple calculation. 10% of your total selling price, it is like 120 rupees right now. So out of 120 rupees, let's say 10% is 12 rupees, right? Now after this, what will happen? What cost will be added?
Retailer margin. That
will be, let's say, again maybe close to distributor or more than distributor. We will say, let's say 30 rupees for retailer, because he might have to hold it on for longer compared to a distributor, and he is buying in small quantities, right? And 10% of cost of total this is 150, 162, and 10 is, let's say, 16 rupees. Again, logistic cost is 16 rupees. Or this will be lower actually, because it will be close to distribution. So let's say 10 rupees. We'll use the lower number. So this is actual total cost of your product to the final touch point, which is retailer. After this, a consumer will buy this, right? So it is total of 172, right? So 172, and your product price is 200. That means you are roughly earning 28 rupees. Right? And now, Mayresh, you are saying that if there is a loss of product, let's say 5% product gets lost, right? You are losing out an actual 100 rupees, but the loss will happen in the downstream. It will not happen at the first go only. मतलब कंपनी का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज टू टिल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर. आफ्टर द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर इट्स एन इंडिविजुअल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू हैंडल प्रोडक्ट इन वेरी वेल मैनर. मतलब उसको पैकेज करके सही से ट्रांसपोर्ट करना, इट्स देयर जॉब. द ओनली जॉब HUL हैव इज टू डिलीवर till its distributor. So whatever they are focusing on, their loss, it will be here only, and that they can minimize because it will be in their control, right? This downstream they will not be able to control. अब मान लीजिए डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर ने ले लिया, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल उसने बिस्किट्स ले लिए, एक पैकेट उस बिस्किट्स का गीला हो गया, it ruined because of water, it is ruined. Now company does not hold any or company does not have to provide it again. So any which ways that whole packet will be a loss for a distributor, not an HUL, right? So that's there. And margin, if we talk about margin, to improve margin there are two ways. Either you reduce your raw material cost and operational cost, that is basically either operational cost and either raw material cost, both are there. If you achieve any one of them or mix of both, you achieve a greater margin. So for example, we talked about lens cart earlier, right? So in that we thought अगर उनके पास एक robot है which is of 10 lakh rupees that can do a job of 10 people, it can save a lot of money for them, right? And their margin will improve drastically. So in that sense, the HUL will also think about automating a lot of processes, and they have already. And packaging will be automated, then their manufacturing will be automated. Moreover, people will try to see the assembly lines and check product quality checks and that. So in that way, they can improve their margin consistently. And also in terms of pricing war that they will face with P&G, right? Over here, it's a quantity game. So even if they have to lower the prices, what they will do is they will supply more and more products to the market. Once they supply more products to market, it becomes reasonably easy to sell it on lower price. It's simply like कि तुम जाके अगर मान लो कौन सी ऐसी चीज़, जैसे एक तुम सब्जी खरीदने जा रहे हो, राइट? यू आर गोइंग एंड बाइंग वेजिटेबल्स. व्हाट यू डू? You tell them, okay, I want 1 kg. He says 20 rupees per kg. But if you say that I want to buy 10 kgs, you will try to figure out a way that you get it for less price because you are buying in bulk, right? So if there is a supply which is on heavier side from the farmer's market, then obviously he can cut down prices. But if the supply is lower, the product is in scarcity, he will not lower the prices. So to win a pricing war, they always have to produce more and sell it on less price because their manufacturing cost goes on lower side once they produce more. अगर सब ने प्याज लगा दिया पूरे फार्मर्स ने तो सप्लाई बढ़ गया. नाउ द कॉस्ट विल ऑटोमेटिकली ड्रॉप डाउन बिकॉज सप्लाई एंड डिमांड का रेशियो हिल जाएगा. हियर यू आर सेइंग डिमांड इज ऑलवेज ग्रेटर देन सप्लाई. उसका रीज़न ये भी है that our economy is developing economy and we are consistently seeing people lifting out of poverty. So they have an aspiration to use branded soaps, branded food, right? So सबको पार्ले जी नहीं खाना हमेशा, किसी को तो गुड डे खाना है या किसी को मे बी मोनाको खाना है, right? That's an example. So anything else that Mayuresh, Nirantar, you both want to add and get an understanding from me?
Yeah, I had one question. If anything goes to waste after the distributor have taken it from the company, then you said that it's a downstream loss. It's not to the company, but effectively it will be to the company, right? Because they will not be able to sell that much amount that they purchased from company.
Okay, let's just understand. If I manufacture 100 bars of soaps, right? Now if I sell it to distributor, in this distribution where I am sending the goods to him, if there is a loss of certain products, let's say 5 bars get destroyed in between, that's our responsibility as an
That-
organization,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
But let's say he has 95 now. It is in loss in terms of that they will not be able to cater what was demand, right? Whatever was demand there. But generally, whenever these large FMCG works, that the destruction ratio or wastage ratio is very minimal, like maybe 2, 3, 4% to of their total volume, and that 2, 3% error is adjustable in terms of demand, because even their forecasting models will not accurately predict that you will need this much amount of bars in this location and this price point, this location and this quantity, sorry. And so that till there it's HUL's responsibility. But if let's say distributor send it to any retailer, and in that process he loses another 10 bar, right, the bearable cost will be on distributor, that he will pay whatever cost he has to pay to manufacturers, right? वो तो पैसा देगा जितना उसको देना है. What will happen, that the supply will be less on the market. That's the only downside that HUL will have. But if you think, if the supply is lower side and there is no alternative product in that product category, if you think of, so that becomes an kind of plus point for them, because then there is a scarcity.
Will increase the price,
right? There is a scarcity and they will have another demand in pipeline. So I don't know whether you guys have seen it or not, but either companies have increased their product prices in recent times as inflation has gone up post COVID, or they have at least reduced the packaging of goods. Like maybe they are selling 50 grams of something at 10 rupees, now they are selling, let's say, 30 gram of that in 10 rupees.
Yeah.
Right? So that is happening across everywhere, in every industry. Even paints got expensive. Asian Paints has improved their pricing to. And who wins the pricing war? What do you think? Which
Yes,
company
the
will win?
big companies, means with the brand.
Where?
with the
Hmm?
with the brand name and the product quality, which has the better product quality.
The companies which will win are the monopolies. तो जिसकी monopoly है business में, he will win the pricing war always. Why is that? Because they have, first of all, biggest market share. So they are the biggest supplier in the market. In tangible business I'm talking about. तो अगर उसके पास, मान लेना फॉर एग्जांपल, ऐसे एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि जो सोप कैटेगरी है उसमें अगर HUL का कंट्रीब्यूशन हाइपोथेटिकली अभी 60% भी है, राइट? इफ़ इट्स 60% राइट नाउ, एंड कोई आता है बट उसको वो मार्केट शेयर कैप्चर करने के लिए ही विल हैव टू बिल्ड लॉट ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, राइट? वो even if he thinks to capture that market share, it won't happen overnight. It will take some time. So in automotive, Maruti is the biggest. It used to be 50% plus, but now they are at 47, 48 or 49%, something like that range in terms of market share. Maruti से सस्ता गाड़ी कोई बनाता है क्या? Is there any car that you have seen at a cheaper price than Maruti? No, right? Because they have invested a lot of money, and they have plants, they have capacity, they have production. Now Tata has more demand since last 2 years, but if you think of buying any Tata car at this point of the time, you will have to wait for 2-3 months at least, bare minimum. So that's the biggest challenge for any company, that either they have to be monopolistic in that pricing war, or they should kill the competition, the way Microsoft do. So Microsoft generally, whoever rise against Microsoft purchase them, and then that company become parts of Microsoft. So they have bought LinkedIn, GitHub, now one of the gaming company I recently read, I forgot the name. So that's how monopolies win. So thank you for joining today's session, and we will surely meet again. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.